Hello, and welcome back to another episode of MoJo, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. I'm Raven.
I'm Alison.
Today we're going to be talking about the episodes Octi Evil and Geshundfight. As far as I know, there's no major new Powerpuff Girls news right now, so I'm gonna get right into talking about Octi Evil. So we start out, the girls arrive on the scene to fight a Hydra-like snake beast, and they end up, Blossom and Buttercup grab it on each end, and Bubbles uses it to jump rope, which I thought was very cute and silly. Unbeknownst to them, Hem is secretly watching them from his lair. He is annoyed the snake beast was beaten so easily. Buttercup throws the snake beast at a building, partially destroying it, and she and Blossom get into a fight, which upsets Bubbles, but seems to delight him as he sees them fighting amongst themselves and decides to use this to his advantage. Some fun facts about him. This is his first episode. Him has the same voice actor as Professor Utonium, Tom Kane. Dude has incredible range to go from Professor Utonium to basically Lobster Satan. And him's voice and mannerisms were inspired by the Blue Me from the Yellow Submarine. Craig McCracken is a huge fan of the Beatles. And there's a Beatles-inspired episode later on in the show's run. I'm not a huge fan of the Beatles, but it's a pretty fun episode regardless. So, back at home, Blossom and Buttercup are still fighting. Bubbles is not fighting. She doesn't like conflict like that. Bubbles is upstairs in their shared bedroom, and she laments that they can't all just get along. When she hears Octi, her stuffed octopus, talking to her. Octi, who's being controlled by him, says that Blossom is too bossy and Buttercup should be in charge instead. The next day, Bubbles brings Octi along to fight a giant turtle monster, and Blossom tells her to put it down, but Octi says that Blossom isn't always right. Bubbles encourages Buttercup to ignore Blossom and do her own plan, to which Buttercup heartily agrees. Buttercup throws a water tower at the creature, misses, and almost kills a senior citizen instead. Blossom and Buttercup argue more at home. The professor has to get between them to break it up, threatening them with a timeout. Back in their room, Bubbles begs Octi for guidance because her sisters are fighting worse than ever, and Octi, in quotes I should say, reveals his evil plan to drive the girls apart. And Bubbles realizes that she's talking to him, and she's furious at being used by him, and decides to go after him by herself, but is captured by a giant Octi monster. Luckily, though, Blossom and Buttercup hear her cries for help and put aside their differences to rescue Bubbles. Em is furious that they stopped fighting to rescue Bubbles, and the giant Octi explodes. The girls make up and conclude that they shouldn't let their differences interfere with saving the day, and that they're lucky to have a sister like Bubbles to remind them of the importance of teamwork. To which Bubbles responds that maybe she should be the leader instead. They laugh at the idea, though the narrator seems on board with that. A little fun fact about Octi is that in the Cartoon Network MMORPG Fusion Fall, RIP, Buttercup wears Octi as a backpack, and it's also possible for players to get an Octi backpack, and you can wear it once you hit level 5. It's a great backpack. I'm always excited when I get one of them. It's so cute. So my question for this episode is, which of your plushies or collectibles would you be most excited to come to life? So I'm going to say probably Baby Yoda. I have a Build-A-Bear Baby Yoda. That would be pretty delightful if he did come to life. And he was like he is on The Mandalorian. Not if he was like evil and he wanted to use the Force on me. I would not be happy with that.
Yeah.
Chaos.
I was trying to think of my plushies, but I'm seeing right here Totoro, my neighbor Totoro, and he's so cute.
Yeah. Tiny little Totoro. That would be pretty delightful.
He would be it'd be nice if he would be huge, and then I could snuggle.
Yeah.
So I was just going to point out in this episode, which you already said, Bubbles jumping rope with the Hydra's tail. But it's kind of a thing that shows that they are just little girls.
Right.
And then even, like, her taking a stuffed animal to fight shows that they're just little girls.
And she takes it so seriously, like Octi's word for everything, because she still kind of wants to believe that her stuffed animals are alive and, like, can talk to her and everything.
Yeah. Like, tell me what to do, Octi.
Octi, you're so wise.
She needs Octi's advice.
Please, Octi.
Okay, so I will be talking about Geshundfight. So I was going to say both of these episodes first aired December 2nd, 1998.
That was 10 days before I was born.
And this episode is the debut of the Amoeba Boys, who are gangster wannabes that are not so smart. They are spotted teal-colored floating amoebae or amoebas, wearing fedoras, and I think the other one has like a backwards newsboy cap on, maybe. And they want to get attention by breaking the law, but only attempt petty crimes, like stealing an orange. All of the Amoeba Boys are voiced by Chuck McCann. So when the Amoeba Boys attempt to litter, the Powerpuff Girls are unconcerned. They have bigger crimes to fight besides people littering. Desperate to get in trouble, the Amoeba Boys stand on grass near a keep off the grass sign overnight in the rain, and no one notices or cares. The next morning, they are sick and sneeze on the fruit vendor and his fruit. Their sickness spreads throughout Townsville, and when the mayor calls the girls about it, they initially say it's not an emergency until they see the ice cream man crash. Then the girls get sick along with the professor and even the narrator. The virus looks like the Amoeba Boys under a microscope. It makes everyone pale with green splotches. The professor tries to isolate the virus but needs the actual Amoeba Boys to make a cure. But the Powerpuff Girls have kicked them out of town. When they track them down, the Amoeba Boys are excited to be wanted and insist that the Powerpuff Girls, who have very little energy from the virus, chase them. They are quarantined by the professor, who makes a cure from them and injects the whole town. The city of Townsville saved yet again. So I just wanted to have a short little science facts about the Amoeba Boys, or about amoebas. They are single-celled organisms that play a vital role in all types of environments. They have the ability to change shape and can cause many diseases in humans. And my question for this episode is, what petty law would you break as an Amoeba Boy to get attention? So I looked up some silly laws and I found one in Georgia where it is illegal to carry an ice cream cone in your back pocket. I'm pretty sure the Powerpuff Girls would be unimpressed. What about you?
I'm gonna say this is a goofy one. You know how mattresses have those tags that say they can't be removed by anyone but the owner? I think they just go into like a mattress store with like some scissors and try to like cut all the tags off to get noticed.
Yeah, that's a good one.
So of course they're inspired by gangsters such as Al Capone. One of my favorite bits was when I think they all technically have names: Bossman, Slim, and Junior. And when Slim doesn't steal the orange initially, Bossman is annoyed and tells him to produce the produce. Which I thought was a good one. It's maybe a little too clever for the Amoeba Boys, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that is the episode. Next week we will be discussing Butter Crush and Fuzzy Logic. I'm very excited to talk about Butter Crush. It's one of my favorite episodes because we get to see the debut of the Gangrene Gang, and they're like my absolute favorite Powerpuff Girls villains.
All right, so that should be fun.
Yeah. Absolute little hooligans. I love them so much. Thank you for checking out the podcast. If you enjoyed it, it would be super cool if you could rate us and subscribe. And if you're watching this on YouTube, in addition to subscribing, it would be super cool if you could leave us a like and maybe a comment, like, if you want to answer the questions for the episode, if you have your own answer to that, if you want to talk about what episodes we discussed, maybe you have some additional trivia that we didn't cover, that would be super cool. We will see you next week. Goodbye.
Goodbye.